Eric, what'd you think of Nick's game? He looked like he hadn't missed any games all year the way he played.
I thought, Nick was phenomenal, not just offensively, obviously the 9 of 14 and the 5 of 8 from 3, and his 26 points, but I thought he did a really good job defensively as well. For our team, that's the most passes of any team I've ever had. Without going back through the film, we had it recorded as 266 passes, which, I don't know if we've ever had anybody over a team over 250. Bench points were, phenomenal for us. I thought basically everybody that checked in the game tonight really contributed, but Nick obviously changes who we are with his perimeter shooting. And tonight, his three balls also opened up other looks for other guys from 3-point range as well. So really good game on both sides of the floor tonight for us.
And that 63.8%, according to Stat Broadcast, you allude to the passing, but just what do you think of that shooting percentage? I know you guys were leading the league, got up to leading the league 48%, which is pretty good, but 63.8 in an SEC game. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think that our team has done a really good job of understanding our strengths and our weaknesses, especially offensively. You talked about the field goal percentage because, we have not been a team that's made many threes this year. But the team that we've had for much of the season is that's not exactly the team that we built. You can see the impact that Nick had and obviously, TB, it's been the guys that have played, I give them a ton of credit because they kept hanging around and they competed every night. And then you add Nick and now we're a much better and a way more well-rounded offensive team.
Coach, along those lines, Nick, I think, was 1 of 8 from 3 before tonight since coming back. But did you think it was just a matter of time before those shots kind of started falling like they did tonight?
Yeah, we see him every day, and from a shooting standpoint, he's been coming to Bud Walton on his own at night and stuff, and I think that's how you get your rhythm back. You gotta really you can't just rely on practice time because we can't just practice just for Nick when we got guys like AB and Ricky and those guys have been practicing and grinding, and so it was really important for Nick to take it upon himself to get the extra reps, which he has been doing for sure.
AB has 8 assists in 2 of his last 3 games. Just what do you make of the way he's distributing the ball lately?
Well, he's got such great court vision, and he's so unselfish, and the 266 passes, a lot of them, are him being the trigger guy or the initial, advanced pass guy. I thought we ran the floor better tonight offensively than we have all year. I thought our advanced passes were really, really sound because we ran, scored points, had the most passes we had, and didn't turn the ball over. So when you add all that stuff up, a lot of really, really positives. And I think we've won 7 out of 9 SEC games with 2 games that, we were right there and had an opportunity to win. So playing good basketball at the right time, and obviously finished the regular season with 3 high level opponents, and we knew that the day the season came or the schedule came out. We've been talking about it as a staff, how difficult these last 3 games will be.
Coach, 22 from Ricky tonight. He had 3 3-pointers. Just what did you see from him, and how important is it to have that kind of pop coming off the bench?
It's really important. I think we saw that a couple years ago with JD Note, the importance of a guy that can come in and if you're not scoring the ball, can change. It changes how people have to defend us as well because he's such a good isolation player. He's such a good free throw attempt player. So it certainly changes, who we are, when he's making perimeter shots to go along with his transition dunks and transition points and free throws attempted.
And then Roberts only had 4 points tonight. You held him to 2 of 9 from the field. What was the key to containing him? Just your thoughts overall on the defense tonight?
I mean, Devo's just, I mean, he's just been absolutely incredible. Not just tonight, not just, not just this year. I mean, I can go back to, him guarding McClung, and McClung just won the dunk contest, and Devo in that tournament game was as good as anybody I've ever seen defensively guarding somebody. So he continues to be able to take a star player and minimize the effectiveness of that particular player.
Coach, you mentioned this tough 3-game stretch to finish the regular season. Just what can the offense do to kind of try to sustain some of this recent success?
Yeah, I think, we just want to continue to run the floor. We want to, the one area that we've wanted to improve on is our turnovers and our self-inflicted turnovers. It's not necessarily the opposition turning us over. There's been a good portion of turnovers that we it's on us. And so tonight was a huge step in the right direction because personnel changes things. And Nick being out there changes our spacing offensively, which has an effect on turnovers. And, but yeah, 3 really hard games. Our net, I think, is at 15 right now after tonight's game. That's about as high as it's been since I've been here in 4 years. You go compete, you play hard. These games can, it's not, your net's not going to move too much with the, with the guys that you're playing. So we've handled business these last 9 games, although we've, like I said, we, 2 of those games, SEC games, we wish we would have had another possession or 2, but it is what it is.
And then how much does having Nick and that extra depth at guard allow you to kind of push the pace a little bit? It seems like you've been a little bit faster these last couple games.
Yeah, I think, Nick runs really hard. I think if you look at our San Jose State game, the one game we were fully healthy, that was probably as good a running game and as good defensively. And so I think that, tonight, like I've mentioned, both sides, really affect it's easy to sub with Nick out there, because you got an extra offensive guy. And like I said, he played very good defense tonight as well.
Eric, after tonight, AB's got 15 steals in the last 5 games. Where have you seen him maybe grow the most as a defender, maybe down the
Yeah,
stretch?
I mean, the one thing, Scott, we just kept talking to Nick or to Anthony about is getting lower. I think he's, when he gets low defensively, he's got such great hands, such great anticipation. And I think you're seeing his growth as a defender right before our eyes. You mentioned the steals in a minimal amount of games. He is playing much improved defensively here down the stretch. And a lot of it has to do with getting low and picking up the ball earlier than he was. He's picking the ball up more in the backcourt. He's picking the ball up higher at the half court mark, which we felt like midpoint of the season, we were not creating enough steals.
And then sticking with defense, I think you mentioned earlier that Nick did a good job defensively. How so? Like what's jumped out to you?
Being in the gaps, being able to, be a help defender and recover back to his own. Right now in pick and roll defense, we've been really, really good in our coverages and keeping the ball in coverages. Our bigs have done a phenomenal job, and our guards, because they go over a lot in those defensive situations, they're pursuing and rear view mirroring, as we call it. And I thought Nick did a phenomenal job in his rear view mirror pick and roll coverage, and continuing to pursue even when he was behind the ball, which our guards get behind the ball with the way that we play it, and our bigs do a good job protecting for a second or two. So just a lot, really sound Nick was defensively for us.
You mentioned Devo's defense, and I see here he was plus 30 for y'all's top plus minus. He's only taken 3 shots the last 2 games. What's that say about his maturity that he's still bringing value to y'all despite not being a scorer?
Yeah, I mean, I think he's what he's done all year for us is he's providing what we need. We needed him to really be offensively aggressive. I mean, his shot selection the last 2 games been phenomenal. He's having fun out there. You know, and this is a team right now that chemistry wise on the court, you know, this is as good as we've been from a chemistry standpoint.
Eric, that's the biggest margin victory Arkansas has ever had against Georgia. It's your biggest SEC margin this year. You alluded to those close losses. Your last 2 games, you've beaten 2 SEC teams by 54 points combined. Just how much fun is it to, beat people like that?
I mean, it's kind of an important game too in my house because Danielle's sister Kim went to Georgia. So there's a little banter back and forth. But look, we're playing in Bud Walton. We're playing the right way the last 2 games. And we're playing on both sides of the ball. If you only play one side of the floor, you're not going to have games like this. But those are behind us, both games behind us. And now I know we're playing in front of 2 sold out buildings the next 2 games, and I know our home game will be sold out. So 3 incredible environments that we're going to have an opportunity to play and compete in over these last 3 games.
And zones obviously have been an issue for you guys a lot of the year, but Georgia comes out in a zone. You guys basically shot them out of it. And I know they're not,
the zone offense worked tonight, but change in personnel and it looks a little bit different.
Yeah, I mean, hitting 5 threes, how much does that help, the zone busting?
A lot. No, I think that we've really look, as a staff, we've been studying WNBA, FIBA. We've looked at about every zone clip that we possibly can. About 2 weeks ago, I assigned a staff member to call 5 different WNBA head coaches because we've just been searching for how to get better looks. The zone offense that we've had, it's been pretty good up until a certain stretch this year. But you saw a lot more movement and cutting tonight against the zone.
And follow up on Devo, what Andrew asked, I mean, he doesn't let the lack of shots affect his defense or what else. He seems pretty happy out there. He's still playing a lot of minutes. What do you think that says about him? I guess his maturity and everything.
Yeah, I mean, Devo's a leader for us. I feel like player-coach relationship is with Devo is he and I kind of think alike. He's got incredible competitive nature. The other guys in the locker room all feed off of his defense. I mean, he's kind of the guy that it's hard not to defend when you're playing with Devo because he's putting forth so much effort. He asked Coach Ruda for all of Robert's made baskets earlier, a couple days ago as we were starting our prep. So that, when a player texts a coach and says, hey, I want to see all the made baskets by the guy that he's going to be assigned to, I mean, that shows you the pride that he takes. And I mean, he's just such a huge part of everything we do.
Turn page, take a few questions on Alabama. We can get Alabama later in the week. We will do it here. Okay. Well, obviously you didn't have Nick the first time around. How big a difference can he make?
Yeah, I mean, I think that, that every game that Nick gets to play, I think he's going to be, feel more and more comfortable. I probably left him out there tonight an extra 4 minutes in the second half late because I wanted him to continue to get conditioning and rhythm and confidence. And so again, I think he's a player that's going to, he changes our spacing, and how people have to guard us.
And how different will it be playing Alabama with him as opposed to without him?
Well, I think anybody we play, Bob, it changes kind of who we are from an offensive standpoint. So, I mean, for us, it's we defended them pretty well for most of the game, and they got hot down the stretch, and they're an explosive offensive team, so we're going to have to defend and then offensively They're such a great defensive team. We're going to have to share the ball like we did tonight and find the ball's got to have eyes and find open people. And you can't force things against their defense.
And they obviously played really well here. I think that's your worst loss you've had at home. They had the late run. Just what do you think Alabama overall? And they've obviously been playing really well all year.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about a #1 team at one point, #2 in the nation, an explosive offensive team, and a team that's phenomenal defensively as well.
Eric, just I guess compared to when Bama came here last month, do you see any differences in the way they're playing, if any?
No, I think they've been really good all year. I mean, you can look at, games at Houston. I mean, they've been good in my opinion the whole year. They've been one of the best teams in the country the entire year.
I think Makai tonight, I think he matched a season high with 4 assists. What'd you think of his interior?
He was
passing
great.
tonight?
He really was, Scotty. I mean, we've really worked with Makai on reverse dribble handoffs out of the post. We're throwing the ball into him a little bit more and using him as a trigger man or a quarterback. His throw and chases on the weak side or second side have been really good. I thought he was a big part of our offensive movement because bodies were moving quicker. There was a lot less standing than there has been at times this year. Our open offense has not been what it has been the last 3 years, and it's been something we continue to work on a daily basis. And tonight, I thought we cut harder without the ball than maybe we had all year. But Makai was a huge part offensively of using him kind of as a quarterback or a trigger man.
I know every game takes on its own theme, but just how important have these last 2 been for you guys in terms of just building momentum and confidence? What kind of place do you feel like you're in heading into a game like this Saturday?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're in a good space, but as I tell you guys all the time that, and I told the locker room, like, Florida game's over, this game's over, we'll go play the Alabama game. That game's going to be over. We play Tennessee, so, we put ourselves in a fairly good position based on how we played the last 2 games from a chemistry standpoint. And, you want your team to continue to build confidence, to continue to buy into schemes on both sides of the floor. And I think that's where we're at right now. I think we're in a good spot. But we're playing 2 of the best teams in the nation in front of sold out buildings the next 2 games.
Brandon Miller, he's obviously was playing at a high level here. He's kept playing at a high level. What are your thoughts on him?
I mean, they have so many weapons. I mean, Miller's one of the best catch and shoot 3-point guys in the league. He's got great size. Sears gave us a lot of problems with his dribble penetration, and obviously you don't want to give up threes. And Quinterly does a great job of creating pace of play for them. Clowney hit a huge 3 in the right corner against us. He's a guy that does a good job rim rolling, and Badiako inside is a great shot blocker and a rim protector. So they have so many different weapons. They have a player that's a McDonald's All-American that's back, that was injured early in the year, and gives them added depth at the guard position as well, and the wing position. So, I mean, there's a reason they're ranked where they are. They're really, really good. They're really talented.
I think they're the only SEC team that hadn't lost at home all year, in conference or out of conference. I know A&M hadn't lost a conference game, but they lost to Wofford, and however that happened. Just how tough is it going to be to try to be the first team to beat Alabama at their place?
Yeah. I think we've really, you look at our road games, and Baylor's a hard place to win, and we gave ourselves a chance to win. A&M, I mean, we played really well for a lot of that game. So you want to compete. You want to try to minimize the crowd involvement in the game, and you have to do that by defending. And Alabama's a really hard team to defend because of their spurt ability, because of their dribble drive, along with their 3-point accuracy. So, got to get ready the next 2 days.